Hi everyone. This is day 29 of 30 Days of Healing. And yet again, the angels and guides have been pretty amazing in helping me to learn to trust in my connection to them. So just now I was in the other room. We've had a really busy weekend and I was relaxing, reading a book. And every time I read a paragraph, I almost had to go back and read the same paragraph again. And I was trying to figure out why that was that I couldn't focus. And they said to me, well, I kept feeling like I needed to go record this meditation. And over again, I was getting the hints to come and record this video for you all. And yet I kept kind of arguing back in my head, well, they haven't told me what I meant to say yet, but I don't know what I meant to say yet. And so I tried ignoring it for a good 5 or 10 minutes and it kept coming up again and again. And finally I went, oh, fine, I'm going to go listen to them. I'm going to go record the video. And of course, then on the way here, they go, so you listen to your intuition. Guess what the video is about? So yeah, today's video is on listening to your own intuition. So your intuition can be your higher self. It can be you hearing your spirit guides and angel beings. And that's why I've got my angel wing tattoo on the side here, because it's this constant reminder that my angels are with me and my spirit guides are with me and they're there to help me, and I need to trust in that connection. And it was very important to me that that tattoo ended up being in a place where I could see it, so that I knew that anytime I was feeling doubt in myself of the fact that I could turn to them for assistance. So they're showing me the word truth. And I think the truth of the matter that they wish me to share with you is that we all have an intuitive connection to the spirit world, or the collective, as some call it. And that is because it's in all of us and we are in all of them, right? We are all one means that we are all connected to the true divine spirit nature of the world, ourselves, the universe. And because we all have that energetic connection, we all have the ability to see more, to do more, to accept more when we lean into our intuitive hits instead of leaning away from them and thinking that they're not logic-based. And now that they're getting me to talk about this and how we all have our intuitive nature, hi Amy, it reminds me of the conversation I had with my mom just before she left. She was here visiting this afternoon, and just before she left, we were talking about the fact that we all have what people might call spirit gifts or psychic abilities. And some of us see it as intuition, some of us see it as a gift, some of us see it as an ability. Hi, Cara. And the thing about it is, it doesn't matter what label we give to this ability to be able to discern where we should be going, what we should be doing, who we should be talking to. The fact of the matter is, I'm going to call it intuition just for argument's sake, to keep the flow of the video going. Whatever you call these messages, our intuition is there for a reason. And well, actually lots of reasons, but the main one is they're saying to keep us on purpose. So to help us with our life purpose, to show us the way to go, but also to help us to do it with ease and grace. Because as I've said before, we're not here on this earth to struggle and fail and think that we're worthless, right? We're not here to think that life is difficult and hard and then you die. That's not what life is about. We are here to be joyful, to express love, to receive love, to live in love, and to love ourselves. And if we're really truly doing that, we've got to listen to that intuitive voice that guides us on the way to go. Now, listening to our intuition then doesn't necessarily mean that every step of our path is going to be easy. It doesn't mean that everything is going to be unicorns and rainbows. It doesn't mean that we can float through life and nothing will happen, because we still have lessons to learn. We still have growth that needs to occur in our lives. And for that growth to occur, we need to be challenged. We need to overcome fears. We need to do things we thought we'd never do. And now they're reminding me of what my son said to me. So my eldest son actually suffers a little bit from anxiety, and he's nearly 12 years old. And yet, although he has anxiety over some things and he lets it bother him in some of the little things, well, what we'd call little things, for him they're a big deal in life. Yet, that same child has told me he cannot wait until he's old enough to jump out of an airplane with me, because I've gone parachuting before out of a plane, and he wants to parachute out of a plane. And he wants to scuba dive with me because I've had my license for years, and that's something he'd love to explore, the underwater world. And he keeps coming up with these things. Oh, and he wants to learn to snowboard because we live near mountains where he can learn how to snowboard. And it's interesting how he can still be fearless in certain areas and yet get anxiety over the fact that the tide looks a little rough when we're at the river and he doesn't want to go into the tide. Not the tide. What's the word I'm looking for? River. It's totally gone. The angels are like all over the place tonight. Anyway. So, and see now, rip. I want to say rip, and that's not right either. That's very Aussie of me. Rapids. Thank you. The river near us has rapids. I knew it started with an R and had an I in it somewhere. So he was afraid of the rapids, and they weren't very rapid running, and his friend had done it, but he was still letting fear hold him back. But yet he wants to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. And we're the same. Like, for me, I can't see the rationality in his thoughts. But likewise, what seems rational for one person isn't going to be rational for another. So all the time listening to our intuitive hits about where we should go and what we should do is key. They're asking me to share what I said to my mom about pro and con lists. And I can't remember if I said it earlier in these videos, but they're telling me to repeat it, so it's obviously worth repeating. That in the past, and I'm one of them, I don't know if you're this type of person, but used to be a pretty A-type personality. I liked facts and figures. I liked science, and, I was in genetic counseling pathway. I wanted to be a genetic counselor. I ended up being a chemist. Numbers, facts, figures. You do X plus B and you get D kind of thing. Like, there's always a path, right? And so I used to make pro and con lists when making decisions, and people think that's quite a rational way to look at making a decision. What are the good things? What are the bad things? Whichever column has the most things in it is the way to go. And what I said to my mom this afternoon was, what if the one thing you have on that pro list carries more weight than 100 things could on the con? What if the pro is that much of a pro? And that's where we have to listen to our intuition. We could make lists all day long, but if in our gut, in our heart, in our mind's eye, they're saying, in our mind's eye, if we can see ourselves taking a certain path and it feels right, we need to do that. I was speaking about the other day about moving to Canada, and they said, now's the time to tell that. So when we came over to visit my parents 2 years ago in August, almost exactly 2 years ago today, Facebook reminded me, we came over for a visit. And I felt very strongly we were meant to do it. We were having some financial issues at the time. My husband hadn't had a whole lot of work, and so we thought we might have to cancel the trip. And right near the end, we had an infusion, literally, of $7,000, like weeks before we were meant to leave. And I went, okay, we're still meant to go. Because like 5,000 of that is flights for a family of 4 from Australia. So we still came. We still had our holiday. And while we were here, we felt such a connection to the land. We saw the cheaper house prices. We loved the mountains and the ocean and all the great things they had for families in this area. And went, this is where we want to raise our kids. This feels right. And up until then, we had no plans ever of leaving Australia ever again. And I think that was a very valuable lesson for me, because in that instance, it felt right. And I went back to Australia thinking, I'm meant to be there and it'll happen. We'll figure out a way. And of course, I still had my fears and my niggling doubts. And if we sat down and did the money side of it, there was no way it was going to happen. And then there was a part of me going, oh, well, we should have spent that $7,000 moving over there instead of having a nice holiday. But the holiday was key. The holiday is what showed us that we were making the right decision. It was already connecting, tethering, they're saying, tethering our energy to Vancouver Island, where we were meant to be. Now, I'm not going into all the details, but some of the key highlights of knowing we were meant to be here, once we trusted that we were meant to be here, we got the flights for $3,000 off on a seat sale. We had a friend who was leaving her rental and referred us on to the landlord. So we got into a rental, and we'd been told the rental market over here was so horrible that there were people that were homeless when they got kicked out of their rentals. There was just not enough housing. There was a housing crisis, and we had a rental waiting for us within our budget that a friend recommended that had us living on oceanfront property. One thing after another falling into place. I met a friend when I went to a Lee Harris seminar, and she had another friend along who I'd met briefly once or twice but didn't know very well. And that other friend had a cousin who was married to a guy who worked for a shipping company and gave us $1,500 off. He gave us mates rates for shipping our boxes over to Canada. Didn't even know the guy, never met him. And little things like that are really quite big things kept falling into place. And it was the flights that taught us that we thought I knew when I left my mom in September, I said, I have this feeling I'm going to see you in 6 months. There's something about 6 months. I feel like I'm going to see you in 6 months. And yet, looking at the numbers and trying to pack up a house and move and everything else, I thought it was going to take longer than that. And so we planned to move back between the end of March and the end of June. And I thought it was probably going to be June with the time we needed, which would have been 9 months or 8. And the flights had to be booked and paid for, and the travel had to be taken before March 31st of that year. And so it was the flights that actually dictated when we were going to leave, because saving $3,000 on flights, hello, we needed to do that. So we decided to go for it. And an international house move in 3 months is crazy when you've just decided and you need to pack up and sell and arrange and paperwork and legalities of citizenship and all the rest of it. But it all fell into place in those 3 months. And the move went seamless, and we loved our new little oceanside property. And as soon as we got there, we knew we were meant to be here. There's not a moment that went by that I felt, sorry about that. There wasn't a moment that went by that I felt disoriented or homesick or like I didn't know what I was doing. We found our way around town quite easily, like we'd always lived here. And so I share this with you because they just are emphasizing so strongly, especially coming up to this very busy, life-changing month of August, that we need to listen to our intuitive nudges, our intuitive guidance, no matter how crazy or out there or amazing they may seem, no matter how much our ego wants to keep us safe and is afraid of change. We need to push that away and say, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready for a change. I'm ready for my new beginning. I'm ready for a fresh start. Whether it's moving house, a new job, a new project, a new relationship, there's something on the cusp of greatness that is happening in the month of August. And the quickening has already started. And I'm sure you can feel it towards this end of July that we're going through. We're ready for this new beginning. And I'm sensing some of you sitting there saying, but I don't know what I'm meant to do. And I got to say, I'm one of them. I mentioned in the other video, I had this hint that I meant to do a virtual online retreat, which I'm pretty damn excited about. I think that would be really cool. But I've never run one before. So I'm like, okay, sure, I'm doing an online retreat. How am I going to do that? How are people going to sign up? Where am I going to put it? How much money do I need to invest in this endeavor in order to provide that service for people? Is it going to be worth it? And yeah, I could pro-con that. I could look at all the things that I think could go wrong or may go wrong or that I don't know what I'm doing. But then I trust. My angels and guides said to me, you need to do a virtual retreat. It's going to be a weekend sometime in the next month to 2 months, I think. And I've already started getting little nudges about what's going to take place and what we're going to talk about and even what some of the healing meditations are going to be involving in that weekend. And so then I go back into trust. And of course, doubting myself, I wrote to my friend Lisa and said to her, hey, not giving any details, because this is what we tell each other. We don't give each other any details, and we just say, give me a yes or no. And Lisa got incredibly wrote back, I got really excited. It's a yes, it's a yes. Now tell me what I said yes to. So yeah, virtual retreat. Lisa says it's a go-to. And Cara says, I love this virtual retreat. Where do I sign up? Awesome. I'm not sure where you sign up. I will let you know. As I mentioned yesterday, as it's my first retreat that I'm doing, I'm going to be keeping costs down because who knows, I might have technical difficulties or something. But I also want to make it that as many people that want to be there can be there, that money is not a deciding factor for us coming together, because it seems important for us to join as a community, whether it be online or not. That what matters is the joining of us coming together. And so Amy says, I will join too if all aligns and my intuition tells me to. Awesome. I'll talk to your intuition, Amy. No, and that's fantastic. And that's what I want people to do, right? I want it to feel right. And that's why people do it. But they keep talking about it. So I know I need to get my button gear. And apparently, just like my house move, see, the house move seemed massive. And they just made me tell you all about how easily it flowed and things fell into place once we trusted and started making the decision. And the same will happen with this virtual retreat. It will all come together seamlessly. It'll be easy. All the right people were meant to be there, and we'll have an amazing time together. And yet we'll also save on flights and accommodation because it's all online. So you can still be, cuddling your babies at night, but then making sure that you have your me time during the day and when we run things. So apparently, yeah, that's what we're doing. And I'm excited about it. And yet there's also, of course, this part of me going, I don't know what I'm meant to do in August. Well, yeah, I do. It's the retreat, right? And I know the beautiful thing about Lisa's message, too, told me that this feels like it's just the beginning. Like, it's not like I'll always be running virtual retreats. This might even be just a one-off virtual retreat that springboards into something even more amazing than any of us can imagine. And so that's my August steps. Very good point, Amy. Everything always works out exactly as it's meant to be. That is so true. And I totally trust that. And if we all trust in the fact that everything works out exactly as it's meant to be, and my other favorite one is there is plenty of time for everything I need to do today. And you put those two mantras or thoughts together, and the trust that comes through is amazing. There is plenty of time for everything that I need to do today, and everything always works out exactly as it's meant to. And I'm in the perfect place at the perfect time with the perfect people. And then we lean into that, and to me, that feels relaxing and refreshing and peaceful. That if I just open up and say to my guides, tell me where to go, tell me what to do, tell me what's supposed to happen. And then I allow that to be. And things do fall into place. And the magic starts to happen. And the magic is the key here, right? And for all of us, that could look completely different. It could be courses that we're meant to take. It could be a person that we're meant to talk to is our next logical step. But whatever your next logical step is meant to be, it's going to unfold in August in some way, shape, or form. It might be that you meet the person in August for a project that starts in September, but this is go month, right? Really, really go month. Cara says, that's my new favorite too. It's really helped my son's anxiety too, knowing he can take his time. Thank you, Cara. I need to actually share that with my son because I don't think I've done that. Neither of my children like to be under time pressure. They would rather I wake them up an hour before we have to go somewhere so they have time to get used to the idea of getting ready to go and getting used to the idea of leaving the house than to give them an extra 45 minutes of sleep and rush them out the door with 15 minutes to go. So yes, helping them to know that there is plenty of time for everything they need to do today. And then also reinforcing that by myself, not trying to rush them about too much. And together, we all make a great team. So I think that's all they want to say today. Trust your intuition, big time. Follow your gut. If it feels right, jump. but don't blame me. If anything happens, it needs to feel right in your heart. I'm not telling you what to do. Listen to your heart. If you're not sure about that, talk to your angel guides and say, yo, angels, what do I need to do? Or spirit guides or shaman or whoever you like to talk to. And then look for the messages, ask for a sign, and then follow it. Lots of love and angel blessings to all. Thank you for being here, everyone. Bye.